Welcome to the Nürburgring, a Sunday morning. The weather is improving, a little flurry of rain just a short while ago, but it's still cool morning. This is the second of the two races, the GT4 European Series, powered by the RAFA Racing Club. Yesterday was an absolute belter. We came here with one crew way out clear in the championship, Robert Consani and Benjamin Lariche, and Lariche didn't even get down to the first corner before his car was assaulted. And I'm impressed, and he was impressed too. Roberto Faria, the Aston Martin driver who clouted into him by apprehending the start, did come up and apologise, and that's a welcome thing in the paddock. So very well done to the Brazilian driver there. But here we are, Joe Osborne, 16.6 air temperature, 17.1 track temperature. So they sort of know what they're going out into. It wasn't totally dissimilar to yesterday, slightly warmer when they ran in the afternoon, but the surface is dry now. No gambling as it was in the previous race, whether you go on wet tyres or stick with slicks.
Yeah, that is important. They've not had any wet running yet this weekend either, so that would have been a hard one for them. But back to normal conditions. It was obviously a late race yesterday, wasn't it? 6 p.m. local time was race start, and it was action-packed before we even got to the line yesterday. And I don't expect anything less today, with 38 GT4 cars on the grid, 10 manufacturers represented as well. It's a phenomenal sight, and European GT4 continues to be the GT4 championship in the world.
Well, let's go down onto the grid and join Alex with the pole standing car.
Right, you are exactly where you need to be to score some very much needed points here at the ring. It's pretty changeable conditions today. How are you and the car feeling?
The car has been very strong so far this weekend, especially in the wet on the first day of test on Thursday. We were really fast as well. So yeah, we are not scared about the conditions. We are just scared about the first lap and the first corner. And then we are confident about our race pace. And Jan had a great stint yesterday, so I'm sure we can confirm it today.
You've got a rather feisty driver beside you. Which one of you is better off the line?
Well, I have the best seat in the house for sure. So yeah, I'm not looking around me. Just let's make sure I get a good turn one, and then we can pull away and manage the gap all the race.
Good. Have a great start.
Thank you.
That's absolutely the way. Rival? What rival? I'm sure you employed those little games in your career, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of brinkmanship there, and you can see the Toyota. Hadrian is closest to the wall there, and that's where he'll be looking to run all the way into turn one and try and cover that off. And there's a gap on the grid at the moment, isn't there? And that should be the racing spirit of Le Mans car. And I can't see it anywhere on the outlap, so potentially a problem there for the 74 Aston Martin.
It was a non-finisher yesterday, so maybe damage was more than had been considered at the time. We'll wait to see if that starts from the pit exit. But let's go back down to the grid, and Alex, and line up with the Borusan automotive car, Bessler and Piana.
Right, you scored very crucial points yesterday. You're right back in title contention. You're very much keeping this championship alive for us. What can you do today?
I like your optimism. I think we are like 67 points back, and there is 75 to go. So technically we are in contention, but we need like 3 or 4 miracles. Nevertheless, we are going to do our best. We cannot control what happens to others. We barely control what happens to us, actually. So we are going to do our best. Of course, it's a good starting place, although I'm a bit worried because on the straight we are a bit weak, so it might be difficult on the start. And we just take it easy and see what happens.
So miracles can happen. We're at the Nürburgring. Anything can happen around here.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we need more than one though, but we'll see. We will push.
All right, good. Push hard.
Yeah, we start the race with a clear lead for Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani. Robert will be starting the race, the speed car Audi. They'll be starting from, well, which should be 8th on the grid, but it appears to be 7th because of that missing racing spirit of Le Mans, Aston Martin. But they start today on 161 points. They started yesterday on 161 points, but having been assaulted by a jump start, they came away with nothing. But they just need to absolutely make sure they finish in the top 10, and then the title is nearly theirs. We'll keep an eye on the points as we go through the race. We'll have a little metric at the side and see if we can keep up with that. But it almost becomes painful when you've had the chance to wrap the title up a round early. You think a couple of 5th places, that should be enough. But let's go to our title favourites. Benjamin Lariche, he will be the driver going 2nd in that car, number 3.
Benjamin, you boys missed out on a huge chance to win that title yesterday. It was a tough race, wasn't it? How is momentum today? How do you maintain the lead?
Yes, as I said yesterday, we just focus on the driving. We just focus to do a good race. There is some little rain, so we'll see. We'll be careful to don't do any mistake, to keep a good pace, and we'll see what's happened.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah. Stay positive. Thanks, Benjamin. Well done.
Yeah, they've got to do that phrase a lot of sportsmen use, one step at a time, haven't they? They'd just quite like to see the first corner at racing speed today. So, but with such a packed grid of cars, 38 cars in entry, as we've commented, probably 37 now, because the car that should be starting fourth, the number 74 Racing Spirit of Lomar, Aston Martin. It should be Will Orton starting that, David Coleman doing the second part of the race, but no sign of that car yet. We're looking around to see it, but it ain't on the grid.
No, and interesting, the Mustang on the row behind Mikael Havrens will have to leave the length of the car in front of him like the Aston was there. Otherwise, that's obviously an unfair advantage, but it's still a big positive as driver. You get a much clearer view. You don't have a car blocking your vision, and there's obviously the gap to run into, but that gap should remain there as they cross the line at the start of the race.
Yeah, what we're also seeing is a little bit of brightness coming from the sky. The first time the cars have shown their colours today. It's very grey this morning. Flurry of rain at 7 o'clock, a little bit more just before one of the earlier races, but I'd suggest it's drying out really rather nicely. Track temperature still staying just under 18 degrees, air temperature just under 17. So they're both rising. That's all good news, but we've got an hour of racing ahead of us. Let's hope we can run through without any particular incident, but it's going to be exciting. But certainly the grid has been shuffled with the championship leaders back in 8th place, albeit 7th now. One is missing ahead of them, but they just need to finish in that sort of position. But let's go down to join our leading Pro-Am car. Car number 54, it's Alberto Nasca, but Stefano D'Asti, the Lotus racer, with Alex.
Steph, you boys are leading Pro-Ams. This is a really important race for you. How are you and the car feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. Yesterday we had a very great performance. The car was really very fast, but I had two silver in front of me that were fighting, so I decided to don't try to overtake them to don't have problems. But unfortunately in the last corner, the last lap, now they crashed in the back of Alberto, which was even a silver. Has no sense, but I'm really very happy about the job that we are doing, because we are improving race by race, and the performances and the reliability of the car are very good now.
I feel like at the beginning of the season you wouldn't have predicted to be in this position now, right? You had such a roller coaster start.
Yeah, right. We did all together with Lotus Motorsport and our engineers a really amazing job, and even with Alberto we are doing a really great job. Every time happens something. For example, now in the in-lap, he got a piece of rubber that went in an intake of the button and touched the exhaust. For this reason, there were the fog and we put water. But yes, it's crazy.
No, this is going to be the good one, Steph.
Yeah.
The one, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Bye. Ciao.
Grazie. Ciao.
Well, the one and only Lotus on the grid. I noticed that there was some work going on that on the grid, and I thought they just being cautious. But anyhow, let's hope all is fine. You can see Cindy Goudet's name on the door. She went very well yesterday, but that was the car that was running around with the exhaust not quite attached. We did wonder if the black and orange warning flag would come in, but it seemed to hang on. Every time we went over the curves, we were taking a look, but certainly those Toyotas do look fantastic. The fact we have one on the pole in the form of Hadji and David probably tells you the story that they are cars that really handle very nicely.
Yeah, and Goudet actually benefited from the Lotus getting fired off at the last corner to take a class podium yesterday, and it was Paul Petit in the Audi on the left there, the second row, the sole car on the second row, which hit the Lotus, and that was given a 10-second penalty for that as well. But that didn't give Lotus the result they needed, and it's a tough time for Lotus at the moment, so it's good to see a car on the grid for them.
Yeah, certainly job losses in the Norfolk base, obviously the Norfolk heartland of the company, obviously no longer owned by British owners, but let's hope it can keep going. It's a mark that really is just all about motorsports, and ever since Colin Chapman and the gang got it going in the late 50s. But great to have it here. It's the yellow car, the second of the yellow cars. It's behind the Elite Motorsport McLaren that suddenly vaulted itself into position to jockey for second place in the championship. That's sort of really all that's on offer. They're starting 9 points down on Berkay Bester and Gabriele Piana. We heard from Gabriele. He's driving one of the two Borusan Automotive BMWs, but the crew that started the championship second yesterday, Eric Evans and Marco Signoretti, the red and white Ford Mustang, they ended up out of the race. A little bit of a smoky departure there from Robert Consani in the championship leading Audi.
I'm really worried for them because they had heavy damage yesterday. I'm worried they've lost a wheel speed sensor and don't have ABS.
Okay, let's go down through the grid. Pole position, the Toyota of Hadrian David, single-seater convert going really nicely. Paul Petit in trouble at the end of yesterday's race. He's in third. Will Orton is not starting fourth. Charlie Hart looked for a good result from the Race Lab crew. He starts fifth. And Michel Haverens, Team Floral, Marco Signoretti, so it's Mustangs galore around 6th and 7th on the grid. Robert Consani, championship leader in 8th. Then Mackenzie Cresswell up into 3rd place in the championship yesterday with victory, will start 9th. Alberto Nasca, we heard from him, he's on pole in the Prime class in 11th. Cindy Goudet looked for a good result from her. Ricardo van der Ende, sure to have a charge in the opening laps from 14. Border Detu had a really good run. He's starting 16th yesterday. We work our way down through the order, and look also for the Modicas. They started to show a bit of pace yesterday in that Ginetta. Incidents went against them. Let's hope it's nice and neat and tidy down to the first corner of the race. Leading AM is Daniel Blickel, who's having such a good season in his W&S Motorsport Porsche. He starts alongside the Homeland car from Toyota Gazoo Racing, that is one of the few that's being driven solo in this event. Down the order we go to the final position on the grid, which is a driver who will definitely be proceeding from there. Final couple of rows. Look out for Keith Gatehouse. That NM Racing Team Mercedes has been quick this year, and a driver who came here with high hopes, leading the AM class, Jean-Mathieu Leandri and Anthony Debarn. They didn't have the greatest of results yesterday, so they need to atone for that today. But they've got dry track conditions ahead of the lot of them. 38 cars coming out to play. 37, I correct myself, because the number 74 Aston Martin, Will Orton was due to start, but that car is nowhere to be seen. It did end yesterday's race out of the action, so perhaps there was damage that they couldn't fix for today.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on that Audi. This one in shot now. That was the one locking up into turn 1. So hopefully all fixed. It could be a reset in the car, but if that car doesn't have ABS, they're so difficult to drive when you get an ABS failure in a GT car. The brake is too soft to get a feel as we go on board with 32 here. Joachim Bolting. And we've seen lots of flair from this car, not just with Joachim, with Hendrick still got roughed up yesterday at the start of the race and really struggled to recover from there as they start to line up 2 by 2. Who's going to be brave into turn 1? We saw Pedro Ibrahim in one of the Boristan Automotive cars make a great lunge into turn 1. That was clean, but we also saw lots of contact further down the field.
Yeah, certainly for Boristan Automotive, you can see there Gabriele Piana's car second on the grid. Yesterday was started both cars down in about 15th and 16th. The sister car with Jacek Gedic is further back. You can see him 21st on the grid on the left-hand side. But Hadrian David, Matmut Evolution, sitting at the front of the grid, that green, black and white Toyota, and then the whole gaggle of cars. Championship leader, they need a 52-point margin advantage over their rivals at the end of today to be sure of nailing the title. And at the moment they start it with an advantage of, I'll do the maths, 67 points. So it's fingers crossed, because when someone gets tackled by another car before they can start. But certainly if Consani and Lariche, team speed car number 3, about 7th in your shot, just near us now, they are likely to put the championship in the bag. But if they have another disaster like yesterday, they're going to have to wait until the final round. But on pole position, it's Hadrian David and Gabriele Piana alongside. It's Toyota making a very clean and tidy start. Actually, that's about the cleanest, most even start I've seen in a large number of years. Nobody else seems to be gaining an advantage, particularly the Mustangs trying their luck to go up the order, and one of them is up into 3rd place. Under braking though, the green Audi will be neat and tidy and come out probably into 2nd place there. Yes, it does. Very tidy inside lines. So Gabriele Piana maybe on the outside, maybe it's slightly more slippery, maybe he's being a little bit cautious, but no problems at all for Hadrian David, our race leader.
Same for Lariche as well, championship leader. ABS looking okay on the inside of the Mustang, could be 5th here. The other car that's had a great start there is Signoretti in the other Mustang just in front, and Lariche is going to get that done, isn't he, on Haverens? And at the moment the Toyota making good is escape, and it's Piana struggling to stay inside the top 3, just about hangs on to that position. Much cleaner start than yesterday.
No, it really was. Yesterday, well, there were many, many factors, but today all it takes is one driver getting slightly out of line and everyone else has to compromise. But today it was neat and tidy. We could see them 2 by 2 as they ran down to the first corner, and that certainly helps things. 3 by 4 is a little more complicated, but for our pole sitter, neat and tidy, getting away at the front of the field. Everyone else is. They get down to turn 8, the lowest point on the circuit, the hairpin. Often you get a little bit of an ambitious dive, but today they've decided a little more caution. They'd like to race for the full hour without bringing out the cautions early on. Sun starting to shine through the clouds now, certainly brighter. Championship leader, dominant championship leader, started 7th up to 5th place, so certainly a very good, neat, tidy start there.
Yep, certainly so. And the McLarens battling each other in the background. It's Charlie Hart ahead at the moment of the elite car of Cresswell. You saw Lariche run through the gravel there. That's going to be a theme. It gets brought onto the circuit more and builds and makes it really a one-line corner after a while through the Schumacher S's. End of the first lap. Who looks quicker? I have to say, surprised the pace of Paul Petit. Been quick this year, but not so much this weekend. We're seeing a battle here further back, Porsche on BMW. Everyone tucking in. It's not that big of a break anymore into the faster chicane. You're only on the brakes for 80 metres or so as Monaco tries to get involved in that battle.
Well, you heard me say, I reckon a good result might be coming their way. Certainly looked busy yesterday. How could you not be busy among 37 cars? Just a mere 36 rivals with you. But the end of that opening lap, Hadrian David leading by 3/4 of a second from Paul Petit. Gabriel Piana lost one position, went from 2nd back to 3rd. But importantly for our championship leader, Robert Consani has gone from 7th, well, 8th on the grid, but one car missing ahead of him. So that was 7th at start, up to 5th place. Now he's got actually a good half-second advantage over Michiel Haverens in the best of the Fords thus far. No, sorry, Marco Signoretti in 4th place, the best of the Fords. That changed around the opening lap.
Yeah, and the Lotus has lost a lot of places on the opening lap, hasn't it? 4 places down for that car. The battle rages on here between Farin and Tadushi in the BMW. Different classes, but that doesn't matter at this stage. I'm actually just worried a bit about Consani's pace. He's getting caught quite quickly by the Mustang behind him at the moment, so he's going to be more on the back foot than the front foot as we see our Pro-Am Cup battle. All 3 cars running together, 2 of which were on the podium yesterday. It was the Aston Martin from Mirage that was on top, and the Mammoet Toyota was on 3rd place, which would have been that Lotus had it not been hit by Paul Petit, who's in 2nd overall.
Yeah, to run an excellent race and get to the final corner and be spun around is very, very disappointing for them. But you have to say, Hadrian David is doing exactly what the doctor ordered for the Matmut Evolution team. Stretching his advantage 3/4 of a second now, pretty much line astern. Now, let's just talk about, well, let's take a look back at the start of the race. It really was 2 by 2 as per the instruction. And then once they tried to find a line, there was no great gain. Hadrian David leading. Gabriel Piana, you had to say 2nd place is fair in his hands, but look at the green Audi of Paul Petit, tight to the inside. David slightly edged a little bit wide, pushed the BMW wide, and Paul Petit said, I thank you very much indeed. Up into 4th place went Marco Signoretti in the red and white Ford around the outside. Another look from above, it was neat and tidy. I'm looking at the progress of the Audi closest to the grandstand, the multicolored car, our championship leader, 4th at this point going into the first corner, but was able to back it off. In fact, given a little bit of a tap there from the McLaren. Caution, but what plays in your mind when the championship is potentially yours by lunchtime? They have to be 52 points clear, and they're starting today with 67-point advantage.
I'm sure Charlie Hart knew that. He was the white McLaren there. He was saying, how much do you want to close the door on me? And the door was pushed open onto Piana, tried to go around the outside. I think David did everything right there. He just eased him out. If he'd given him any more room, potentially that BMW would be leading. And at the moment, it does want to get past that Paul Petit car. Like I said, we're not seeing the best pace from the Audi this weekend, considering where they've been all season. Same bit of trim was hanging off that BMW in race 1. It won't affect performance. And yeah, the other Audi is the other cork in the bottle at the moment in these battles raging inside the top 10.
Yeah, so championship leader, there it is, 5th place overall, Robert Consani at the wheel, and Benjamin Radish will just have to wait, watch from the sidelines. So right now, if Consani finishes in 5th place, he'll come away with enough points, surely, providing that the closest car in the championship, the Bessler Piana BMW, doesn't move into the lead of the race, then suddenly things are starting to look really quite good for them. We'll touch on the points an awful lot more as we go through the course of an hour, but basically, if the Bessler Piana BMW, which is 2nd in the championship, wins, it'll end today on 120 points, and it needs, therefore, 4th place above. If the BMW wins, this will change as we go forward for Consani and Arish to be sure of taking the championship. They're sitting in 5th place at the moment behind Marco Signoretti, and so they can do the numbers, but there's lots of pressure from behind. Havren's right on the tail, Charlie Hart in behind him, and Mackenzie Cresswell, and such a strong run in the background of the shot. Victory yesterday along with Josh Rattigan. It's been a slow burn season for Elite Motorsport. Had a fantastic 2024. Now Piana's doing exactly what he needs to do. He doesn't just need to get into 2nd place, which he's just managed now with that bold move out of the chicane. He needs to get into the lead of the race. So for Hadrian David and his teammate Jan Duran, they need to stretch the margin, because Piana, this is his favourite circuit. He always goes really well. What else can change in this battle? Just look at the Mustang in the background, because Marco Signoretti and Derek Evans ended up off the track. Yes, they never got to the foot of why they pulled off. There had been a little bit of contact earlier in the lap, but looking very handy. And don't forget, they have gathered a couple of wins in the course of the championship, so they've got the speed potential. But whenever you combine Borissan Automotive, BMW, Gabriele Piana and Nürburgring, you do expect a top result.
Yeah, and I thought the speed car team may be a bit more aggressive with Paul Petit trying to help out the sister car for the championship, but Petit unable to close the door. And yeah, that Academy Mustang won 2 of the first 3 races of the season, 1 at Ricard, 1 at Zandvoort, got taken out at Spa, and that was a real big dent in their championship, not scoring. This 4-car battle here, Consani really starting to hold them up, but luckily for him, the Audi quick at the end of the straights, the Mustang quicker in the corner, but unable to get the move done. And it looks like the McLarens are going to start fighting too as well. Hart defending in the white car from Cresswell in the elite yellow McLaren.
Yeah, but Cresswell had the extra confidence, took victory yesterday, and it was, he and Josh Rattigan, you know, looked really handy in that. And as we saw through the faster corners, the McLarens look really well balanced. But I must say that Mustang's looking pretty mighty too. So certainly Consani will be thinking, oh God, these guys are really quick. Can't you just get off my tail? I want to start concentrating on catching the cars in front, but you're not giving me a moment. Michel Havren's all over the tail of his Audi, and hopefully for the championship leaders, all is fine with them. But I must say we've had a very clean first few laps. First 4 cars getting away, but the gap between first and second, 1.2 seconds. Adrian David in Toyota from Gabriele Piana, but of course it's Piana giving chase now, not Paul Petit. And Paul's probably driving around saying, what was that one thing the team asked me to do? Oh yes, I got it now, sorry. Help my teammate, my championship leading teammate, who needs all the help he can get at the moment, because they're at the points at the moment, if they finish as they are, need a 52-point advantage, and that will be fine for the championship. But you cannot count on Piana and Bessler getting into the lead of the race, and that will then close the gap and swing it back the other way. We'll keep an eye out.
The leaders are the top 4 cars, completely different pace. The Mustang there jinking to the inside, fastest lap of the race last time round. That's now been taken by Piana. Those cars are in the 205s. The cars behind are in the high 6s. Lost 0.8 of a second on the last lap. So that gap has now grown to 3.1 seconds from this Audi we're watching to the back of the Ford in front. I think Havrens is going to send it here on Kasani. Kasani's got a difficult decision here. The Mustang not in a championship battle, won't mind a bit of rubbing, but we saw it yesterday, a DNF for the Audi. It's a difficult decision. You've got to defend, of course, but to what level where you risk DNFing the car?
Well, at the moment, Consani and his teammate Lariche need to get the points for 4th place if Berkay Bessler and the driver in the 2nd place BMW Gabriele Piana come through to win the race. This yellow and black McLaren Elite Motorsport was good enough to win yesterday's racing. It's being bottled up, but across the pairing they may well get their way past the Consani Lariche Audi. It just doesn't seem to have the legs today, and it's really agonising. If they were sitting in 4th position, they should be thinking we're en route to the championship. But at the moment they're down in 5th. But worse than that, it's not just the position, it's the fact they're being pushed so hard by those 3 cars behind, the Mustang and then the 2 McLarens. Here they come into view, but all along they're falling away from those first 4 cars, and the 4th place is the position that Consani and Lariche need to lock up the 2025 title.
And they've only done 4 laps. That gap is growing quickly, and actually I think this could be, if it keeps going like this, a battle from 5th, that Audi of Kasani, all the way down to 12th of Papadopoulos. Look at the gaps getting closer and closer as this gap gets closer. Piana, fastest lap of the race at 205.447. It was 0.3 quicker than the Toyota in front on the last lap, and a second quicker than the Audi behind, and then suddenly there's a cluster of cars, and again the top speed of the Audi keeping him safe at the moment.
Okay, another person coming into the equation. I said look out for him. Ricardo van der Ende has gained about 4 positions. He's in the BMW black and white over the bonnet, blue around the bumper. There he is, into the background of that quartet that is now a quintet, making it more and more complicated. Do more cars added to the back make it easier for Robert Consani to hold? But I tell you what, this is the moment when you really feel that he just lost 1 position. Surely the grunt of the Mustang takes it past, down into the first corner, braking late. Now what are the McLarens going to do in behind? It won't be good for them this lap. Now will there be the little switch back? Did Haverens go too deep into the corner? No, he didn't. So suddenly 5th, which was tenuous, has become 6th. So this is a pendulum that's going to continue to swing. And Benjamin Lariche in the pit lane will be absolutely focusing on every line any of these cars can do, any different bits of performance the rival manufacturers have at various points around the lap. He's got to store that data in his head. The first 4, here they come. Still Hadrian David leading in his Toyota, just over half a second clear, so that gap is coming down. Gabriel Piana fell from 2nd at the start to 3rd, and in behind suddenly Consani has got his hands absolutely full.
The McLarens are being immature is the kindest thing I can say. They're too busy battling each other to capitalise on this slow Audi. They're worrying about who's going to finish 7th. If the bigger brain play here is work together for a lap, get past the Audi, then chase down the leaders. And Hart is having to defend from Cresswell. Cresswell's just looking every single corner. They're losing a second a lap with this immature battle, let's call it that way, and that is what Consani needs. Windscreen wipers on, I think that could be more of a mistake rather than a necessity, and these McLarens need to work together, otherwise Van der Ende at BMW is going to have them both.
Yeah, and really their advantage is through the faster corners, whereas the Ford's advantage was along the start-finish straight. Absolutely, Michel Haverens made that perfectly clear as he blasted past down the straight, but now the fly in the ointment here, it may not just be Charlie Hart in terms of the change in disorder. It could be Ricardo van der Ende in that BMW on the back of the pack, and he's got the Aston Martin of Rafael Del Sart in behind him, and Baudin de Two, who had a really good run yesterday, is on his tail as well. Pair of Aston Martins, and then as you said, yes, down to 12th place with Alex Papadopoulos. Leading the Prime class is Cindy Goudet, Matmut Evolution, and neat and tidy again for her. Oh, they're just adding more and more cars to tail the back. There comes Cindy Goudet leading the Pro-Am class, running in 13th overall. Now, the McLarens have split their taxis, gone different sides of the start-finish straight. Charlie Hart has stayed in, tucked behind Robert Consani's Audi. But in fact, maybe as much as anything, Mackenzie Cresswell, who's doing everything he could to try and keep the BMW Ricardo van der Ende behind him on the straight. That's not the McLaren's forte. It's the faster corners. They can make a bit of a gap. But look at the number 17. Bienvenue BMW of Ricardo van der Ende. I fancied he was going to make progress. He's doing it now, and he's interrupting. But what he is doing is helping all the top 5 runners, because I do really sense that the 2 McLarens could get past the championship leading Audi. It's coming at some point. It's coming soon. Charlie Hart looking left, looking right on the tail of Robert Consani, who will have a very hot working environment in there, because it's the pressure. When you have the possibility of wrapping up a championship title with 1 entire round to go, that's a huge thing to achieve. Never been done before. The opportunity is here. They could have done it yesterday. They got no points, hit on the starting grid. And today, they're still running, but they're down now in 6th place since Michel Haverens went past. And the pressure is not coming off them, not at all.
No, and I actually worry he's not a cork in the bottle here, Consani. He is the Three Gorges Dam. He is holding back the tide at the moment, and I just hope for him it's not going to burst open and let the floodgates open and his championship starts to unravel. But Charlie Hart, nothing to lose, 0.3 of a second behind, and this gap I think will be about 0.3. Look at the pace difference on some of the laps, as much as 3.5 tenths there. Piana starting to flash his headlights. Remember, these cars starting on the front row. It was a robust defence from David into turn 1. He may be regretting that now, because Piana won't have forgotten that, and he set the bar. You race differently with drivers. If they're hard on you, you're hard back. If they're fair on you, you're fair. He was fair but hard in equal measures, so expect Piana to up the game on what sort of move he's happy to do.
Yeah, I expected by now that we'd see Marco Signoretti having got past Paul Petit. Certainly that Ford has loads of grunt in the start-finish straight. The second of the Mustangs coming down now. Now, what are the McLarens to do? Maybe finally the message is coming through, Joe. Use a slipstream, and they were doing it there, but Robert Consani nailed his colours, stayed to the outside. And now this is the moment Mackenzie Cresswell's thinking, maybe I can finally get past Charlie Hart. Charlie's thinking, oh, I don't think you can. And so the white McLaren still ahead of the elite motorsport car, and in behind them now more and more pressure coming from Ricardo van der Ende in the BMW, and tucked in behind him Rafael Del Sart in the Aston Martin, right up there with Baudin did two, similar car riding behind. Now look how close Cresswell is to the tail of the Audi, to the Charlie Hart McLaren, who indeed is the same distance behind the Audi. Can't hardly see Charlie Hart. Goes one way, goes another. Not quite the space for Cresswell to dive up the inside into turn 5. Possibly not even really the corner to try it. But oh, well, there we go. A move I didn't think was going to come off, and it's been a fantastic switch back there from Charlie Hart. Consani, he cannot afford to be pushed offline, because suddenly it'd be like the floodgates opening and a whole host would come through. He wanted to at least get back to the pits at the half-time point in the race in about 6th place. It's going to be, he's still got to rely on Berkay Bessler and Gabriele Piana not winning, and you can't be sure of that. They're in 2nd place. What? How far down? 4/10 of a second down on Gabriele Piana.
Yeah, and that was a damn good move from Charlie Hart, I have to say. I've not seen that one done yet this weekend around the outside. Kasani's doing well here, isn't he? Because he's stopping it each time. He's let the Mustang go. Now Hart is gone, but he doesn't let multiple of cars go, and he's going to have to. The Audi is not handling right. That must have some legacy damage after the contact yesterday at the start of this race, because he has got zero pace. Petit's not quick, but he's still quicker here, and now we see them go side by side. Kasani's weaving left and right. The risk of contact is going through the roof now. The team need to be talking to him. Right, we've got, what, 8.5 minutes until the pit window. Just think about this. We're still in the battle at the moment, but if we have another DNF, that's a double DNF weekend, and suddenly the tide is certainly turning.
Yeah, it's a real struggle, but my concern for Consani is if he just gets shoved a little bit wide, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 cars coming past him, and then that is a totally different equation. So Consani, bear in mind, he and his teammate Benjamin Lariche, 4 wins in the bag this year, consummate winners for Team Speed Car. I think you're absolutely spot on, Joe, as we have a place change behind, because the Aston Martin has moved ahead of Ricardo van der Ende, who's going, no, I'm on the inside line, and pushes him back again. So Ricardo van der Ende showing all that experience, keeping Rafael Del Sart behind him.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And these cars now getting frustrated at each other, and it's Kasani who is the catalyst to the frustration, and everyone reads that as the body language. So then the ante is up for everyone at the moment. It's Cresswell to get this move done. Great drone shot of side-by-side racing there, and Paraparopoulos has done to shoot there. So that's a change for 11th position. He then goes on the defence, and Cindy Goudet right on the back of this battle as well. So the Silvers merging with the Pro-Am, again, all due to the lack of pace of that car leading the battle of here, Kasani.
It really changes the battle, changes the middle order of the field if you've got someone who's just not got the pace but has got track position, and that's precisely what we're seeing. What we're seeing, though, is the gap to Michel Haverens, who'd got past Robert Consani a few laps ago in his forward. He is the best part of 5 and a bit seconds clear, and in turn has nearly 4 seconds over Charlie Hart. But Charlie, with that fantastic move between turn 5 and turn 6, now free and making a bit of a charge.
See, the Lotus is dropping down the order. That wasn't too far off the back of Cindy Goudet. There it is in shot, and it has dropped a long way back, isn't it? Is that a problem with the car? Was it a mistake? Looking okay at the moment from what I can see. We heard they had the problem on the grid. Should have just been a bit of rubber burning, but a lack of pace at the moment for the Yellow Lotus. Yeah,
well, he's actually just lost a couple more positions. Ferrarin and Mojica went past him as well. So, yeah, you're good spot there, Joe. Right, first to second, Hadrian David, Gabriele Piana, gap 1.1 seconds, 8 laps on the board, about to be 9. The third place and 4th place cars still in the order of Paul Petit and Marco Signoretti. The second of the Mustangs coming around in 5th place, Michel Haverens. And then the next car should be the white McLaren of Charlie Hart. Now, there it is, the white one. The yellow McLaren is still bottled up behind Robert Consani, the championship leading Audi, hoping with his teammate Benjamin Lariche to wrap it up today after yesterday's start line disappointment. But the pressure is coming on. Well, it's been there ever since the start of the race. Got up to 5th at the start, gained 2 positions from being the 7th car on the start line, so that was good. But since then, it's been a massive struggle. 2 drivers have got past. Michel Haverens in the number 1 Ford, and Charlie Hart in the number 812 McLaren for RAFA Racing Team.
I don't think it's long until we see the Lotus retire, by the way. That's been losing 4 seconds a lap the last 2 laps. This is the move. I think it's job done. The next corner's a left, so that will favour Cresswell. Is Van der Ende going to be able to follow him through? I think he's too far back. Consani will be checking his mirrors. Is he going to try and go around the outside? No. He tucks in and closes off the front of the BMW. Consani now all the way down behind those 2 McLarens and the Mustang. The race is just going on forever at the moment, isn't it, for that car? It's amazing. When it's going well, the race goes quickly. When it's going badly, it goes on and on and on.
Well, look, Consani and Arish second in the championship last year, desperately keen to wrap it up. Well, to take the title at any point in 2025, but if they can do it with a round to go, then that really would be a fantastic achievement. It looked odds on they'd managed to do it. They've been consistently excellent, but a non-score yesterday. They were hit by a driver who started behind them on the grid, jumped the start, realised they jumped the start, tried to go back into line, clipped the rear of them, and that was that. The car was damaged, 0 points. Today, though, still running, but 8th position now in the race. So it's been a gradual trickle of other cars going through. And the move completed by Mackenzie Cresswell. The next fly in the ointment, it's Ricardo van der Ende in the BMW. And the good news, at least for van der Ende, not only is he getting closer to Lariche, there's Consani, there's Lariche putting his earpieces in, ready for his go. But the fact is the Aston Martins have fallen off the tail. They were 9th and 10th, and they're just back, sorry, 10th and 11th, just in the background of the shot.
The other battle looks like it's heating over. Signoretti on the back of Petit, and here we are looking at it over the line. The gap now down under a couple of tenths of a second, and Consani here holding up. And this is the 10th race of the year. Before the DNF yesterday, 7 of their races they'd finished on the podium, this car, and the worst result was 6th before this weekend. So this speed car Audi is not in a run of form this weekend, it seems, as the battle rages on between Papadopoulos and Detruit still. And there is the championship standings as it stands.
As it stands, 52 points is the difference between them. 52 points is the margin required for the title to be landed by Lariche and Consani. Need to be 52 points clear. The real point is, can Piana get into the lead in his stint, or will his teammate Berkay Bessler get the better of the second of the drivers in the Matmut 87 Toyota, and that is Jan Duran. And this year Jan Duran and his teammate, van der Ende making a move, Consani resisting. Oh, it's tight, it's very tight indeed, but he holds on for now. But Jan Duran and Hadrian David, 4 second places in the championship, so that's a really strong pairing. And compare them to Boristan Automotive's Bessler and Piana, they've only been 2 podiums for them, a win and a 3rd place, sorry, 3 podiums, 3rd place yesterday, of course, as well. So there really is nothing between them in terms of points, nothing between them in terms of average, but the fact that 4 podiums have come the way of Hadrian David and Jan Duran is something they'll try and build on today. Still leading the race, getting towards the pit window opening sometime soon.
Yeah, the pit window always adds a bit of spice. There's a minimum pit stop time, 78 seconds they have to be in pit lane for. They can use a joker, so they can go 1 second under. Only a couple of cars used it yesterday, so we'll keep an eye on that. So it allows the teams to go 1 second under in case they need to try and jump someone in the pits. But those McLarens have streamed away, haven't they? And if only they'd done that sooner, worked together to get past this Audi, that van der Ende is still there. Just seems like the pace is kind of equalising, doesn't it? There's less battles raging on. The Toyota of David managed to pull away. This is really our big battle. Slight bit of smoke out the rear of the Audi. We've seen that before. It's just the oil breathing out the engine as that big V10 engine just gets fully up to temperature. It's just getting its oil levels just right.
Right, the gap between first and second, we saw it come down to just about a 1/3 of a second, and actually the last few laps have been very good for Hadrian David. It's out to 1.4 seconds. Plenty of Aston Martins having a real go down the tail end of the top 10, still rebuffing Alex Papadopoulos, who's down in 11th in the NM Racing Team Mercedes. Car number 15, there it is, giving chase to Rafael Delsart. But Bodan did too, lost position right further down the order, still looking to see if anybody is going to make the moves. Car number 32 riding on board with them, that's Joachim Bolting, who came here in such strong form, didn't have the greatest of results yesterday, came here sharing the championship lead in the Pro-Am class, and find themselves a little down the order to where they want to be. But how hard would you like to hit the curves?
Yeah, the BMW in front so loose. We do have some drifting going on at the Nürburgring some weekends, but Stefan Velder there showing that he's maybe a frustrated drift king there, as we see Bolting down the inside there, and they're running side by side. Was it fair? It was rubbing, wasn't it? I put it as a racing incident because the BMW came across and Bolting naturally was going to the outside. I think it was a fair lunge originally from the Porsche, and both decided they wanted the same bit of track right on the corner exit of T17.
Look, arriving here, Joachim Bolting and his teammate Hendrik Still, W&S Motorsport Porsche crew, had 4 class wins. Yesterday they rather went backwards, and today they're way down the order. And remember, right at the end, out of the final corner, last lap of the race yesterday, they had some more contact. Right, pit window is open, and car 61, Marco Signoretti, the first to blink, the first to come in from the front runners. Remember, he was in 4th place. He was right on the tail of Paul Petit, had been there for a while, couldn't make a move, has decided to come on in and give his American teammate Eric Evans a go. And they've had a really good season, 2 wins so far, but yesterday they had a non-finish, and that actually brought a bit of an advantage for Consani and Lariche in the championship lead. They were the closest challengers, non-finish. Equally, Consani and Lariche came away with nothing.
Yeah, this is going to be a busy pit lane now. So cars at the start of the pit lane always have the advantage because they get back into the fast lane earlier. It does look like the Lotus has made it back to the pit lane after some really steady laps towards the end of the stint. They were down in the 2-minute 12s, while the leaders have been doing 2-minute 5s as a reference. So driver change now, maybe a bit slow turning the engine off there. I think the car controller signalling, belts getting put back up. So when Lariche gets in, he's able just to sit straight in. A change of seat inserts as well. Mechanic helping with the belts. They should have around 35 to 40 seconds stationary. No tyres, no fuel, just driver change.
Why is it that when suddenly the pressure is on, a pit stop looks far more of a jeopardy? The belts don't fall back into the right position when they're being put there for the new driver to get in, etc, etc. And with Team Speedcar having had such a supreme season, 4 wins until they arrived at the Nürburgring, it really was just their bread and butter. Looks though all is cool, calm and collected. Eric Evans leaves the pit lane, light flashing. He's the first of the the pit stoppers to come back out, and Consani and Lariche look as though it may be another place loss. So they just managed to get it going. Benjamin Lariche diving out just ahead of those Aston Martins, so that's good.
Yeah, but he's going to have to lap or get past Kumar at the moment, because these are our pit leaders as we have a pit race. This race has been going on and on, hasn't it? And did that Mercedes of Ibanez now cross the white line? Was he forced over the white line by that Aston Martin? That's something for the stewards to do. Hard to be side by side in pit lane without an unsafe release as well at some point in pit lane. Maybe we'll see that. So we now have the pit leader, the Mustang, now in the hands of Eric Evans. He's got to try and put some laps in to get past the race leader, Henry David, in that Supra, who will be passing over to Duran, and that is going to be some feedback going. The car felt loose. It didn't feel easy to drive as this battle rages on.
Well, Luke Ibanez, absolutely intent was crystal clear from the moment he got going there. Tried to overtake as they were leaving the pit lane, couldn't get it done at turn 1, got it done at turn 2, going down to turn 3, and is in 20th position. But fear not, that's not a realistic position. That is quite simply, according to other cars, not having come in to make their pit stop. So the early pit stoppers, will they gain? Well, Eric Evans, who took over from Marco Signoretti, the Mustang that was 4th before the pit stops. This is the car that was stuck in front of it. He couldn't pass Paul Petit. Now Gregory Gilver is getting on board the number 8 Team Speedcar Audi, and he could still have a role to play. His sister car, the one that's leading the championship, now Robert Consani has handed over to Benjamin Lariche. We'll see how it goes, but as we saw from the body language when Consani got out, not happy with the handling car, and all season it's been flying, but today just not got the performance there.
No, and the sister car, Paul Petit, now in pit lane. He's handing over to Gregory Gilver. So this car should be about 8 to 9 seconds ahead of the sister car when they release. Car controller signalling pit lane is clear, and this is now the cars coming down pit lane. So there's our pit leader now coming down the start-finish straight. So is unable to get all the way up to the back of Paul Petit. But we are seeing a split strategy at the moment, because the leaders of David and Piana are still out at the moment. So they've been sort of able to march away. So is Havrans in that other Mustang, the number 1 car. Of course, as we see a battle between 2 BMWs here, Willie Motorsport against one of the Borson Automotive, and finally our race leader pits. So does Piana, but that gap has grown, hasn't it?
No, entirely so. It was down to 0.3, 0.4 of a second. Now, end of the last timing interval was 2.3 seconds. So that's been really, really strong from Hadrian David. Such a top single-seater racer, but he's made a real move to cars with roofs, and second place has been theirs 4 times. Can they convert it to a victory today? The second of the 2 races at the Nürburgring. Gabriel Piana, well, his race is run, because he'll be handing over to teammate Berkay Bessler. He really knows there's one result he needs, and that is race victory. It makes it simple. It should keep the championship open. And his big hope, of course, is that the number 3 team speed car Audi of Consani and Arish does not get many points, but just think of that figure, 52 points advantage is what they require, and we will see if Consani and Arish still have that at the end of the race.
Nice calm pit stop going on. So this is Gregory Gill there now. So this will be the race. He able to stay in front of Evans behind in the Mustang. So there's a lap difference between them. There's going to be a lap difference when they did their pit stop between this car we're looking at and our race leaders. It should be a comfortable exit for both that Borusan Automotive car we were looking at and of course the Toyota Supra should still be leading if everything goes to plan in pit lane. And they're starting to roll down pit lane now, 50 kilometers an hour as a minimum, as a maximum speed, of course. And yeah, I think this Audi is going to slot back into 3rd position behind these 2 cars, which remain in formation.
In formation, but certainly the Toyota, having eked out a 10th here, a 10th there, seems to have maybe lost about the best part of half a second, maybe slightly more. In the background, the Elite Motorsport McLaren is getting going again now in the hands of Josh Rattigan. Remember, they came through to take their first win of the day, of the year yesterday, but they're too far behind, surely. Yeah, we've got just under half an hour, but let's see what Rattigan to do. And likewise, the RAFA Racing by Racelab entry, Charlie Hart's handed over to Callum Davis. They come out and they are in front of Benjamin Lariche. As they were, we saw Charlie Hart work his way past Robert Consani in that fantastic move around the outside at turn 5 and then nailed it by the time they got to turn 6. And those orders haven't been changed in the pit stops, but then when you have a clean pit stop and your rival has a clean pit stop, you do expect to remain in the equivalent positions, and they've done precisely that.
Yeah, and everyone's pit stop looking okay until I look down to the Farrier car, the number 5 Aston involved in there. So they're a 10th of a second under the minimum, even with a joker. So expect them to potentially get a drive-through penalty, but they're down in 13th at the moment, so won't be anything for the race leaders.
Yeah, another car with a potential problem for their pit stop, car 317, the Chazelle Technology Corsa. BMW of Jean-Mathieu Leandri and Anthony Debarn, AM class leaders when they came here, had an absolute stinker of a race yesterday, and today's maybe going the same way, but it's under investigation rather than any penalty as yet.
Yeah, they were 6/10 under the minimum as well, so yeah, those 2 cars too fast in the pits, the minimum pit stop time there. For driver safety, predominantly when I first started GT4 racing 2009, it was as fast as you could do it, and sometimes if the driver belts didn't go in quite right, you would give yourself an outlap just to finish it off, which in hindsight wasn't the smartest or safest thing to do. So the minimum pot stop time keeps it safe and fair for all.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very, very good ruling. So just waiting for the final couple of cars to serve their pit stops. Michel Haverens leading the race from Ricardo van der Ende, Ford from BMW. But then we will see the best of the rest. You expect Jan Durand to be in the lead. He is still in front of Berkay Bessler. They've taken over respectively from Hadrian David and Gabriele Piana. Then the order is as it was before, but a slight advantage for the team speed car Audi. It's got more of a margin over Eric Evans's Mustang, which before it was handed over by Marco Signoretti was right on its bumper, but Signoretti blinked first. He pitted to give Evans as much time in the car as he could, but at the moment it's looking so it's slightly going away from them in their battle for 3rd place.
Yeah, and it's a slow pit stop for Charlie Hart's car, who's now got Callum Davis in, the 8th place car. Those McLarens have swapped round. Their pit stop was 5 seconds over the minimum, so that was time loss. As we look at this Supra at the lead of the cars, Gabriela Gilkova sliding the car lovely through turns 1 and 2, dives down the hill slightly into 3. Car looking stable under braking, slightly wide off the curb, going for a later apex, which does help now onto 4, so she'll gain with that line down this next straight. And yeah, just looking at outlaps for cars, and Durand lost 1.5 seconds to Bessler on the outlap. So from pit exit to start line, that was 1.5 seconds in favour of the BMW. Is that a trend, or is that just Durand getting his eye in?
Well, it's hard to tell. I thought a little bit of time being gained on pit exit by the chasing Borusan car, but anyhow, we've still got track position. Now, one person who's really we need to look for is Stanislav Safronov. He's 2nd in the Pro-Am class. He's down in 14th position. Bear in mind, that was a car that went on pole position yesterday and still came through to take class victory in 6th overall. So expect them to come forward. They're really, really good pairing.
Yep, and they were 0.6 of a second faster than the Toyota Vilkova in front, 3.8 seconds behind at the moment. There's the gap, and it is coming down. If you want to get the live timing, the SRO GT World Challenge app is free to download. You can get all the information there, so you can see all the gaps for all 36 cars we still have running in this 38-car field.
Yeah, if you've never sat with the professional timing screen, it is transformative. You can sometimes drill down through them, and you have more information than you can process, but it's a great tool. So yeah, free. Get the SRO app. It really will augment your race watching experience.
Might be too much for you, Bruce. I'm okay with it, so speak for yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be modest. Do it standing on my head. Oh, I am doing it standing on my head. Right, now, race lead, Jan Duran, Berkay Bessler waiting for those last cars to serve their pit stops, but when they come around this time around, the order will be maintained. It's as it was. Remember at the start of the race, the Gabriele Berkay Bessler BMW lost one position, went from second to third, but in fairly short order, Bessler got past Paul Petit, who, as you pointed out, didn't put up too much of a fight, which certainly, if he had, it would have helped his team speed car teammates. Now, overall championship leader, down in 8th place at the moment. Robert Consani looking on, but Benjamin Lariche is having to be clean and tidy. Has he found more performance than his teammate got out of his car? The fact is, he's still behind the white McLaren from the RAFA Racing team, and that was the car that had such a slow pit stop. And that shows, even though he squandered 5 seconds of the RAFA Racing crew before they got onto the track, they're still ahead of this car now, with Benjamin Lariche taking it through to the finish of the race. The championship leader, the dominant points leaders when they came here, they needed 5th position or above, but really it depends where the Borusan Automotive, the number 12 BMW can finish. If that goes through to win the race. Oh, we've lost Josh Rattican there down at the bottom of the circuit at turn 8, and he was looking for a decent result, was certainly in the top 6, and yesterday delighted with victory, today no doubt distraught, as we've got a message, sector yellow. Well, we can see where that is, bottom of the hill.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a full course yellow as well. There's no way he's getting out. He was by himself on the track, so of course someone might have caught him. We might have caught someone up a back marker. The timing screens don't illustrate that, but strange place to go off. You can see him in vain trying to get out of the gravel, but that thing is well and truly beach. This would be bad news if it was full course yellow into safety car for this Audi, because it's going to bunch everyone up, and they are going down to 80Ks. Full course yellow is called. So at this point, status quo. But yesterday we saw full course yellow into safety car, didn't we? And I think we'll follow that trend potentially. So everyone's going to bunch up behind, and that's the last thing this team would like.
Well, I tell you what, for Team Speed Car, it's good news for them, because they've actually gained a position. They'd fallen down to 8th place, and suddenly that has become 7th, with Josh Rattican beached at the bottom of the hill in the gravel at turn 8. So there is our championship leader. Needs to be 52 points ahead of the Berkay Bessler Gabriele Piana BMW that's in 2nd place in the race. This is full course yellow. No one gains, no one loses. If they decide to throw the safety car, brings everyone in behind, right up onto the tail of Jan Duran, the Berkay Bessler battle, Toyota versus BMW. So as it stands, Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani, with that promotion of 1 position, now have a 54-point lead, and that will be enough for them to land the title. Gabriele Piana and Berkay Bessler can make it difficult and keep the title battle going if they move up into the lead of the race, but that depends on whether Berkay Bessler can pass Jan Duran. Let's go down to the pit lane and hear from Robert Consani, who'll be biting his fingernails, now potentially has the championship in his hands.
As it stands, you are going to win the title this weekend, but this is a critical moment. Talk us through your thoughts.
It's difficult because I don't make the pit test on the good condition, because I make the pit test on the rain. So I missed the race 1, so I don't have the good feeling with the car, because I don't have a lot of training with the car in Nürburgring. So I try to stay on the track, because the other driver pushed me a lot during the race. I think the guy is completely crazy. I don't know why. I think the car number 3 is the target to destroy for this weekend. I don't know, but it's difficult. So I give the car in Benjamin in good condition.
Okay. So it looked like you were a little bit off pace, but you're saying that the car was in good condition.
No, I don't have a pace, because I missed training on the Nürburgring circuit. So it's okay. Cross the finger for the finish.
All right, powers are on.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Alex. So Benjamin Ruiz Robert Consani trying to keep his emotions under control there. But one thing I noticed during that, several cars have got some time penalties. Car number 39, that was at the tail end of the top 10. That's one of the Racing Spirit of Le Mans, Aston Martins. It went so well yesterday. Clement Seiler, when he came into the race, unsafe release for him. So 10 seconds will, particularly if we get a safety car, that will send him way, way down the order.
Yeah, we saw that, didn't we, with Ibanez on pit exit. So not a surprise. I did allude to it's quite hard to be side by side leaving pit exit in a safe release fashion. So not surprised to see that. And that's been a tough weekend for that car in general, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've had plenty of pace, but yesterday actually did a good run. But so Jan Duran and Berkay Bessler, just under 0.6 of a second between them. Remember that gap, but really the story of this race is whether the car you're looking at right now, Team Speed car, came here with a huge points margin, almost double the score of the next closest car, which was the Evans Signoretti Mustang. If they stay where they are and Berkay Bessler doesn't take the lead of the race, the championship will go to Robert Consani and Benjamin Lariche. If, however, Berkay Bessler moves ahead of Jan Duran's Toyota, goes to lead the race, that means this car needs to advance.
And it's something I don't think that car's going to do is advance. And at the moment, where they are, I think Lassen, Ibanez, maybe even Farrier, who has the penalty, and we are going into safety car. So that is bad news. Not too much for the leader because the gap was already small. Slightly worse news for Bessler because he had no one to look behind to worry about, but he will now have his mirrors full of Gregory Gilver, of course, sister car to the championship leader, so they will want that car to try and get past Bessler to take some points away potentially from that Borusan Automotive BMW.
Exactly so. So that margin of 11 seconds between Berkay Bessler and the best of the rest, Gregory Gilver, will come down behind the safety car. There is the safety car, the Maserati leading them around. Already just out of the corner of the shot, I could sense the nose of a green Audi coming in. His job, Gilver, is to get on the tail of that Borusan Automotive, now official BMW blue colour. It's on the colour charts of BMW. That is quite an accolade for a racing team. So look, in the classes, it's Duran from Bessler, Gilver, Evans, Van Springel. Well, they're the first 5 cars you see on the track. In Pram, it's Gabriela Jilkova in her Toyota from Stanislav Safronov, who went so well yesterday, and Vinny Beltramelli, the Porsche from JSB competition. In the AM class, it's Max Kronberg, such a strong season, his Porsche ahead of Hans Holmland and Anthony de Barn. But really, it is all eyes on the front of the field. And by the way, the best place car, Jilkova in the Pro-Am class, is in 12th place overall. It's been really rock solid along with her teammate Cindy Gouvet.
Yeah, I think we're going to get at least one more lap behind the safety car after this one. The 97 car is at the back of the pack, and that's only just coming into the last corner now. So I think we're going to need one more lap to let that Schuberth BMW, the tail ender, to catch all the way up. Drivers now starting to try and get the tyres back into the window of performance. And we look as our AM class leader, Kronberg, they've been so strong this year, haven't they? Both him and Blickel don't seem to ever put a foot wrong. And super fast as well for the 2 bronze-graded drivers.
Yeah, their class win yesterday was their 4th of the season, just showing what a good run they've had. Now, just having thoughts about the championship. Closing things up could complicate. Will it make it or break it for any of them? But for Berkay Bessler, he has one task. There he is in the BMW in 2nd place in the race. His task to keep the championship alive is to get ahead of Jan Duran's Toyota. Jan, though, desperate to take a first win. Already so many 2nd place, 4 2nd places. They were 2nd place yesterday, desperate to give their Toyota and Matmut Evolution a victory. But another factor in this race was the promotion by 1 position of Benjamin Lariche to 7th when Josh Rattigan went off down at turn 8. And Rattigan, you know, they weren't really in the championship reckoning, and yesterday their victory moved them up to 3rd place. But now, effectively, the only car that can topple the Team Speed car Audi combination of Consani and Lariche is this car, the number 12 in the silver class. It's the top class in GT4 European. Gabriele Piana has done his bit. It's now up to his Turkish teammate Berkay Bessler to see if he can take the victory that will take the championship to the final round. If he doesn't, Team Speed car will wrap it up with 1 round to go after a phenomenal season. But it's been a difficult Nürburgring meeting for the number 3 Speed car crew.
Yeah, it really has, and Kasani felt like it was conspiring against him as well. Safety car will be in this lap. Safety car light's still on, but race control message screen saying safety car in this lap, so all drivers starting to bunch up. The other championship, the M-Class Championship, we're talking about Kronberg and Blicker, what a strong year they had, but they are second in the championship behind the 317 car, currently being driven by Deban, started by Leandri. That has a penalty, remember, for a pit stop being too short. So the championship at the moment is separated by 21 points. That was close enough ahead of the last round as well.
Safety car in this lap, so focus is easiest to focus at the front of the field. You are Jan Duran, Spanish racer in your Toyota, riding on board with Anthony Deban at this point in the race. They still lead, as you say, in the AM class, but not in this race. They're certainly not in the lead in this race. But for Jan Duran, the message will be coming through from the pit wall. Right, we will be taking the restart, we'll be leading the restart. You have to keep Berkay Bessler behind him. Look how close Bessler is, right on the tail of that Toyota. Everybody doing what they're required to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sixth car in that line is Ajith Kumar, who is the Indian film star, loves his racing, but he's going to want to get out of the way very, very quickly indeed on the restart. Yeah,
the only other thing with the 317 car we were on board with, that has a penalty of 12 seconds to be added. So this safety car has hurt them. When's Duran going to drop the hammer? We've seen it always be around in Sec 3, and same again. This is the third safety car restart of the weekend, second for the GT4s, and is a very good restart at the moment. Although Bessler was actually closing in on the original jump was good, but now the BMW is going to be able to get a run. I think they could be overlapping as they get to the start line.
Yeah, and tucked in behind Gregory Gilver, the sister car to championship leaders, trying to do his green Audi, and Eric Evans is just going to blast down the outside line, but no change for him there. Gilver is definitely keeping Bessler honest, and Bessler not the best line in the corner. That was to protect second place, and that is advantage Jan Duran. The Mustang tucks in fourth place. Instead of first being challenged by second, it's third challenging second, and that is maybe going to have a real change of the complexion. But look at our championship leader. Robert Consani has got more, Benjamin Lariche has got far more company than he ever wanted at all. The Bienvenue BMW super close, and Papadopoulos just going for positions, gaining positions. Sorry, Luke Ibanez, he took over from Papadopoulos, I beg your pardon. The NM Racing Team number 15 Mercedes getting very busy indeed.
The Mustang up to third. It's got past Paul Petit, who looked strong at the start of this lap, and now the McLaren is getting away from the Audi. Ibanez going to try and send a move. Ibanez has been right up there in the championship in that NM Racing car. It looks like Eric Evans has got some serious pace, doesn't it? Piana having to defend there, going in deep, going to go for a cutback now as they drive up the hill.
Well, certainly Robert Consani, championship leader, standing in the pit lane, watching his teammate Benjamin Lariche, trying not to be monstered by those around him, will have a little more confidence there. The pace of Eric Evans and the lack of pace potentially of Berkay Bessler is really good news, because that means someone's gone off in the background. There's not good news that someone's come back off in the background. That was we'll work out who that was, but for race leader Jan Duran, this is fantastic news. It looks like he's really going to be challenged on the restart, but suddenly the challenging is coming from fourth to third. That's the Mustang of Eric Evans. Now he's right on the tail of Berkay Bessler, and Bessler needs to win this race to keep the championship going to the final round, and the car that may take the title is the Audi there with the yellow nose and the red flanks and the blue roof. And that's Benjamin Lariche trying to take it through to the finish. Time left on the clock out of an hour is 12 minutes.
Yeah, flying quickly there. More and more dust getting kicked up. Drivers pushing on. The tyres only getting worse now. No tyres changing the pit stop, remember, so these tyres have done qualifying, and now we look on, and nervous faces. Surprised they're not watching the screens, they're just watching into turn one there, waiting to see what happens. And Ibanez has got past the Audi and is now trying to get away. And has that Audi got any more pace to hang on to the position of 8th position where it is right now?
Might have to start doing some more maths if he's down in 8th position. 7th position was quite cool for them, because 7th position would put Team Speed Cars championship leader onto 167 points. And if Berkay Bessler's car stays, even if it goes through to win, that will leave it 47 points down. But if it comes second, it's 113, which will not be enough. That will be 54 points behind. And as long as the Consani Lariche Audi ends up with a 52-point advantage, even if it's exactly 52 points, they will take the title by dint of taking more wins. Ifs and buts, we press on. And there, probably not enjoying life one little bit. Benjamin Lariche is just trying not to be passed by anybody else, because that move by Luke Ibanez, who I must say, oh, talking of moves, we've got a potential one coming from Eric Evans. It was a little bit telegraphed, and Becco Bessler knew what to do, but every time he does that, our race leader pulls further clear. Jan Duran, 4 second places this year, and his Toyota now with, what, 10 minutes remaining on the clock, is edging clear. 2.2 seconds clear at the start of the lap. Looks though that's gone out. Drivers cutting the chicanes more and more gravel on the track out of the Schumacher-S. They expected, it's always going to be there, and it always is. It's the quickest line up through the corner to hook the wheel over the curb. But pace of this Ford, I think it could be something to play. What he doesn't want, Eric Evans doesn't want Gregory Gilvaire all over his tail. That's what he's got at the moment, though.
But the speed car Audi wants that Mustang to get past Bessler. The goalposts are moving, aren't they? The championship standings all over left and right. So's Bessler left or right, trying to defend from Evans. They need to hang on to get the points, but Evans doesn't care about that. He's only looking after his own championship, and they would have been much higher had they not had that bad fortune at Spa. I think this is going to be a move for Evans. It seems very strong at the end of the straight. Turn one, Bessler goes to the inside. What's Evans going to do? It's a race into turn one. Who's going to be the last on the brakes?
Okay, and in the meantime, it looks though suddenly Lariche has lost several positions. I'll have to redo the maths again, because when I was working on 7th place, that became 8th. It was going to be equal on points. That would be enough for the title, but it requires really... The Toyota's disappeared into the distance while this battle for second place is going on. You can see Jan Duran turning through turn 3 into turn 3. Bessler as tight as he can to the curbing. Eric Evans looking to put the Mustang one side. No, potentially. But look, Gregory Gilvaire seems to be reinvigorated at this point, and he's right on the tail of the Mustang. Maybe that will help Becco Bessler stay in second place. If he stays in second place, for fans of mathematical conundrum, 113 points will be in the bag. They want the 120 points they'll take if they have victory. But if... Now, hold on. What position have we got... Lariche down to? He's down to 9th. That means they'll be on 163 at the end. Oh, well, that's 50 points. That does keep the title battle open if Bessler can hang on in second place. And there it is on the screen. 50-point advantage. 52 is what's required. So that place loss to Benjamin Lecen was costly. The place loss before that to Luke Ibanez was costly. Ibanez is proceeding up the order. He's demoted the Mustang of Nathan Van Springel. He's now catching up with the white RAFA Racing McLaren, driven at the moment by Davis towards the end of the race. Callum Davis is going to hang on, but NM Racing Team, real pace from the Mercedes at this point in the race.
Yeah, and they, again, a car that's been strong this year and will be missing out on the championship due to bad luck, not a lack of pace. 4 places gained over the race for the Mustang, the 61 car, the Academy Motorsport car. Hasn't got onto the back of Bessler after losing a bit of time at turn 4 earlier in this lap. Kasani now with Sayer behind, who does have a penalty, remember. So if Sayer gets past in that Aston Martin, I don't think he'll actually be in position by the time the penalties added at the end of the race.
Well, I mean, talk about intent at this point of the race. Ever since he exited the pit lane alongside Clement Seiler, he's been pushing and pushing, and another position being gained by Luke Ibanez. NM Racing Team on the start-finish line, just a nose behind the McLaren of Callum Davis by the time they get down to turn 1. A nose in front. In the background of the shot, fighting over 5th position. Deep into the corner goes Ibanez. Maybe the McLaren will get the better exit, then he'll be on the outside at turn 2. Now, Ibanez, he's not the sort of driver who's going to back off at that point. Equally, that battle over second place. Bessler continues in second ahead of Evans, ahead of Gilvaire. And then in behind you can see the place change for 5th place with the grey and red Mercedes of Luke Ibanez there. He's got the job done. And then tucked in behind them is Nathan Van Springel, Benjamin Lecen, and then Benjamin Lariche.
Yeah, the Fords are waiting like a called Van Springel, aren't they? Ready to pounce if they're called into action. But the Audi of Petit there, the green one, looking strong again. Actually, so is Lariche. His pace seems to have picked up as we see the cars streaming through. And we look down the field for the inter-class battles as well. It's still Gilkova. And actually, Safronov has lost second place now. And he's still second. They've got a car in between them now, though. The other Borisan Automotive car is splitting that battle.
Potential move coming out of turn 8 there for our championship leader Benjamin Lariche. As it stands in 9th place, the title battle will go even with the Borisan BMW coming in second and not going through to win. We'll go down to the final round, but he's desperate to get past Benjamin Lecen, and he's been harried absolutely left and right by Clement Seiler, car number 39. doesn't want the hassle. He wants to pick up. He had a really good run out of turn 8. I thought he was about to make a move on Benjamin Lecent's BMW, but now here we are deep into the final 10 minutes. In fact, we've only got 5.5 minutes remaining. He doesn't want the pressure, but it does look as though the championship battle is not going to be sorted here at the penultimate round of the 2025 GT4 European Series. Benjamin Lecent just trying his absolute to hang on in front of him through the chicane. Someone cutting up the corner. I don't know. Well, we've had a place change. The BMW has now moved ahead of the Ford. Nathan Van Springel made a slight mistake, and there may be an opportunity for the Audi of Lecent to gain a position. Van Springel slow through the final corner, compromise, but it looks like the Aston Martin is the one that's going to benefit. Car number 10 slashing its way past. Remember, that got the 10-second penalty, hasn't it? Car number 39.
Exactly that, as the Borusan Automotive dive bombs Jilk over into turn 1. That's where the team are looking down pit exit, and actually the speed car Audi there of Lecent is fighting back. That's a position game back against Van Springel.
Look at my chart again, because that will give them with the second place, if it stays that way, going to Berkay Bessler's BMW. That means the championship will be sorted. Hold on, let's do the maths one more time. Here, 8th place, 165 points here. There'll be a 52-point margin, which is exactly what they require. That was gold dust for Benjamin Lecent as the two cars in front try to sort themselves out.
And a swap in the Pro-Am lead as well. Safronov has got past Jilkova. It wasn't a lack of pace from Jilkova. It's having to battle with Ibrahim in the Silver. The 11 car there, 14th overall. And you can see them flash through. And Jilkova now dropped down to second behind Safronov, so that position will swap as we see Lecent on the attack. That is super brave for a championship. Brave or naive, because that is now going the wrong way. They're watching the big screen. There's been contact there. The Ford has hit the back of Lecent. Is there damage on the Audi?
Just when you thought the job was done, the place was gained, suddenly got him onto 52-point advantage. Still Berkay Bessler, there's still bodywork being clattered. Came off earlier in the lap on that contact going up the slope out of turn 8. But Benjamin Lecent, he's going to relive this race time and time again. He just seemed to be making progress, gained the position he needed to land the championship, and then immediately gave it away. Looked as though he's going to lose another position and therefore not sort the championship here at the Nürburgring. 3.5 minutes remaining, and he's somehow survived that battle. Need to see both flanks of the car to see what damage is there.
Yeah, we have to say don't worry about the smoke coming off the rear left. That's the oil we've been talking about. It's breathing heavily, but it seems to be okay. Ibrahim seems to be the dive bomb specialist. Every time I see a car flying through the background, it's him getting down the inside of someone. So he's got past Safronov, so that Pro-Am battle stays as it is, and they'll be glad that Ibrahim is out of the mix, because he's been the detonator for a battle that he's not really involved in.
Certainly has. Meanwhile, what's happening at the front? Jan Duran leads the race by best part of 4 seconds from Berkay Bessler. So I think he is safe to take the first victory of the year after 4 second places. It's what's happening behind. And where we had cars nose to tail, suddenly that grouping from about 7th, 8th place down has spread out. But now, 52-point margin is what was required by Lecent and Consani. By regaining that position, that is where they're standing. We've got a couple more laps in this race. This lap and the next one.
Can I offer you the conspiracy that we have a yellow flag in Sector 2? That's not the conspiracy, but that Borusan Automotive car in shot is being told by the team, you need to get past this Audi so we can take the championship fight to the last round at Barcelona.
Give it your all, they might have said, and certainly Pedro Ibrahim has been doing precisely that, pushing, but he needs to get past the Nathan Van Springel Fords have a chance of doing that, but it's not for want of trying.
We've got the Lotus off on the exit of the next corner, so hopefully Stefan Jaste has got the car out the way as they exit this corner. He's somewhere on the left-hand side of the track, so yellow flags could be out now at turn 8, which means obviously no overtaking, and be prepared as Ibrahim goes into the back of the Ford. I think the Lotus somewhere there on the left, yes, so yellow flags and overtaking from that point, so actually turn 8 was clear.
Yeah, a bit of protection. It's almost as though the performance has actually come to Lecent in the remaining final few laps of the race. He seems just much more positive. The last 2 or 3 laps he made the place gain, then he got so bold he decided to try and gain another one and nearly lost everything he gained plus 1 more position. But importantly for him, he's running in 8th place overall, and that will give him, if he stays where he is and the better of the 2 Borusan Automotive BMW stays in 2nd place, and the championship will be sorted here at the Nürburgring, not have to be sorted for them at the final round.
1 more lap to go. Leaders just at the last corner as we approach 60 seconds remaining. So this will be the start of the last lap. And luckily, I think, for that Lecent Consani Audi, this Mustang has done a good job of holding this BMW up. Otherwise, this would have been a very, very spicy final lap.
Yeah, certainly would have been. The BMW still pushing on Pedro Ibrahim, trying his everything. Right, he's got the slipstream going down the start-finish straight. He's also got plenty of company, because right behind is the Aston Martin of Clement Seiler, who's got alongside, had a far better exit. Now the Mustang driver didn't even see the Aston Martin, but for Ibrahim, ended up having to go to the outside line, and I think he's about to lose that place to Clement Seiler's Aston Martin. Maybe not overall, but certainly on the track, and that would give a little bit of breathing space for Nathan Van Springel, who left the door slightly open. Oh my word, he's lost 2 places there, and so it's chopping and changing absolutely all the time. And just behind them, Stanislav Safronov is trying to get in the action. He is now leading the Pro-Am class, so for the Aston Martin crew, it's been a not too bad a weekend. Started on pole for the first race. Yeah, pole position, eh? Now, championship leader, we're on the final lap, and 8th place will do. Benjamin Lariche is running around. It means the best that could be achieved by the second place crew. The Borissan Automotive number 12 crew is 52 points by taking victory and pole in both of the final races, but and requiring Lariche and Consani not to score. The only time they haven't scored all season was in the opening race here, and it wasn't their fault. But 8th place isn't their race of dreams, but it should be enough to land the 2025 title. Race leader though, Jan Duran, stretching clear, 4.3 seconds to the good. And looks as though the job is done. But for Consani and Lariche, it's 8th isn't what they came here for. They came here for the title, but if 8th place is what's required to do that, then that's precisely what they will do. But for Jan Duran and his teammate Hadrian David, who qualified on pole position, they've been desperate to get a win all year for Toyota and for their team Matmut Evolution, and it looks as though the job is done. The final few corners for them, and up to turn 17, out over the curbing, no need to be too extravagant. And it's victory for the 87 Toyota from Matmut Evolution. Second place for Gabriele Piana and his teammate Berkay Bessler, who brought it home, and Eric Evans putting forward on the work of Marco Signoretti up into 3rd place overall. But importantly, there falls the checkered flag. There is 8th place for Benjamin Lariche, and the job is done. Robert Consani did the first part of the race, and he hung on. Lariche all but stopping in terms of celebration, and then the celebration will truly start. They came to win the championship. That was their target for the year. They did so well in the first part of the year that that is what they needed, and it's what they've done. And let's go down and join Alex with the celebrating Team Speed car.
Robert, you did it. You boys are the 2025 title winners. Congratulations.
It's incredible. I'm very happy for the team, for everybody, for my sponsor, for my family. I'm very, very happy.
What a job, what a season. Well done, well deserved.
And that really, you sort of write, if you write it, you go, and then breathe, ... And for Team Speed Car, this was not the weekend of their dreams. It ended up being precisely that. They've got the title won, Robert Consani and Benjamin Lariche, and you can see what it means to the Audi crew. Victory, by the way, went to the Toyota, Matmut Evolution, and Jan Duran and Hadrian David, who started from pole position, really did a fantastic job. So they need the accolades, but continued excellence from Team Speed Car. 4 wins before they came here, no wins from here, but 8th place. And it's time for the team to get in on the action. And I dare say there might be some awards and rewards for that team, but they've got the 2025 title. And in a field of 38 cars, anything can happen, but they really kept their cool and calm when it was very hard to do so, when they were being pushed and shoved around the track. There was that bold move towards the end when Benjamin Lariche decided to try and gain another position and nearly came unstuck. But with Berkay Bessler and Gabriele Piana not able to get into the lead of the race, it meant the title was theirs. And the other cars will carry on round to Parc Fermé, and I'm sure Robert Consani will go and join Benjamin Lariche. But the first part of his celebration done on the pit wall. The second part, yeah, he's definitely running around to see his teammate, who kept his cool under intense pressure, and the 2025 GT4 European Series title is theirs. That was a real battle. They'll look back to the races when they led comfortably to think, gosh, life used to be easy. But today and yesterday, very hard indeed. They would have expected a top 10 finish at any point, but today a top 10 finish in 8th place was all they required. It was a moving target all the time. But with Jan Duran holding off Berkay Bester, it meant the Boristan Automotive BMW couldn't come through to take the victory that would have kept the championship battle open. Victory in the Pro-Am Cup went to the crew 11th place overall, Stanislav Safronov and Alexander Weintraub in the Mirage Racing Aston Martin. They've had a really good weekend. They won by a second from Cindy Gouvet and Gabriela Jilkova. In the AM Cup, another good result for the crew from WNS Motorsports. Max Kronberg and Daniel Blickel, they were winners again. 5th class win for them. But overall winners, Jan Duran and Hadrian David. Pole position, kept it neat, kept it tidy, had the form, resisted the pressure, and finally took the plaudits in a season that's just got better and better for them. But when the points are totted up, we can tell you that the 2025 champions, with one round still to come, are from Team Speedcar, the number 3 Audi crew, Robert Consani and Benjamin Deriche. So applause for them. Let's join our winners. Sprint up the pit lane for Alex Legui. Let's hear from Robert Consani.
Yes, boys, that made up for yesterday. What a drive. That didn't look easy out there.
I mean, definitely there was a really competitive pack, so it was a hard push throughout the whole race. But together with TGR and Madman, we managed to do a great race, also together with his first stint. So can't be happy.
This is turning out to be a very good partnership and a great season for you boys.
Yes, so far it's been quite tough, but we are happy to have finally a perfect weekend with a P1 and P2. And the car was super strong on the tire degradation, especially on the second part of my stint. We managed to pull away and give the car back to Jan with some gap. And then we just had to manage until the checkered flag. So yeah, very happy with the weekend.
Yeah, good job, well done.
Thank you.
So of course the race winners, not the title winners, but they've been hunting that win all season. And for Hadrian David, pole was a great place to start from. He made a really good start, led the early part of the race, and with that Toyota Supra handling beautifully, pushed it across to Jan Duran. 4 second places were great in the season. They were desperate for a win, and the French team has got the job done, and a first win for them at this level. But let's go across to our Pro-Am winners and hear from them with Alex.
Well, boys, Nürburgring is serving you very well. Very, very good weekend, huh?
Yes, thank you very much. It's a really good race, a good weekend. And we made the maximum, I think.
This must give you an awful lot of confidence going into the final round of the season.
Well, yeah, we had confidence before the season, and now it's even more.
Actually, you didn't yesterday. You weren't sure. He had confidence. Well done, well deserved. Happy?
Of course.
Good.
Many thanks to the team.
Good.
Thank you.
So that's Stanislav Safronov and Alexander Weintraub, and I tell you what, that's 4 Pro-Am wins on the bounce for them with the Mirage Racing Aston Martin. So they've clearly got things hooked up very, very nicely indeed.
Right.
And in Pro-Am, of course, we had WNS Motorsport picking up victory again. And that makes 5 class wins for Daniel Blickel and Max Kronberg. So again, we're seeing a form really starting to appear through the course of the championship, across all the classes, it must be said. So let's go down and join Alex Legui with our Pro-Am winners.
Maria, congratulations. You are the lucky mascot for these gents. Well done. Did it again for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, we're super happy. It's like, I mean, we scored every point we could here. So now Barcelona will decide it in the end. And it's a dream. It's super cool to be in the lead for Barcelona, and yeah, now I hope we can do it in Barcelona.
I'm sure you will. 2025 is turning out to be a very good year for you.
Yeah, so far, yes. I mean, perfect weekend for us. 2 pole positions, 2 times the victory, and also our competitors, the 317, didn't score a lot of points. So I think we have a good position to come to Barcelona. But let's see. It's still going to be 2 races to go here.
Not one yet.
Nice work. Nice work.
Okay, thanks.
So there we were, continued excellence in the Pro-Am class, the WNS Motorsport BMW, Porsche crew, looking down the 3 classes, the top 9 cars, but the bragging rights, the car in the middle, the green, grey and white Toyota, Matmut Evolution, so many second places, and finally today, victory, but so important for them, not just for their own ego, but also for the championship winners. They didn't get a top result today, but 8th place was enough for Robert Consani and Benjamin Deriche, and had the aquamarine coloured BMW in your shot of Berkay Bester and Gabriela Piana got into the lead, it would have been a different thing, but the championship is sorted, and there it is. They needed a 52-point margin So they don't need to score any points at all when they go to Barcelona. But victory in the championship today was clinched. Benjamin Lariche, Robert Consani, loads of effort from Gabriele Piana and Berko Bessler, just came up short. Jan Duran and Hadrian David have moved up to third place in the championship with that first victory. And Marco Signoretti, Eric Evans, third place today, still keeps them very much in the mix to advance a little bit more when they move down to Spain. Alexandra Papadopoulos and Luke Ibanez showed real fighting form as they came up with the order at the end. They may hope for good success on Luke's home ground in Barcelona next time out. But hats off to Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani, victors in the GT4 European Series 2025 Championship, with 2 races to go at that finale down in Barcelona. So it's been a phenomenal year for the all-French crew, and Speed Car have been running those Audis for years, and it's so many times it's down to having a really, really good pairing. It's not about ultimate speed, it's about consistent, good, average speed, and also racecraft too, which certainly Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani needed in spade loads today, because competition was all around them. They weren't in their traditional position at the front of the race, and life's a little harder when you're further back down the order. Let's look back to the start of the race, and pole position for Hadrian David was converted very cleanly into the lead of the race. A bit of a challenge down to the first corner though, with Gabriele Piana getting busy, and Paul Petit in the green Audi managed to say thank you very much and move up to second place. It was neat and tidy, but very soon Petit had no answer to the attack out of the chicane. A little bit of bodywork damage there for Gabriele Piana. Didn't slow him. He then started going off after the race leader. But all eyes were on Robert Consani. Where was he going to be? He started in 7th position on the grid with one of the rivals missing, and that was sort of going to be enough. He moved up to 5th place, and you're thinking, right, potential championship, can it be sorted here today? But then gradually other cars picked their way past him. First one of the Fords, and then both of the McLarens. That was Mackenzie Cresswell, winner of the first of the 2 races here, going through, starting to do the maths. It was becoming serious, but really the story was whether we could see the Berko Bessler, Gabriele Piana, number 12 BMW, go through to take the lead of the race. That would have adjusted the optic, if you will. Here's the change from Piana to Bessler. They still had high hopes, because the championship leading car was down in about 7th or 8th position, pretty much where it needed to be, but it couldn't be sure. Then some attacks started coming from further down the order, and certainly the championship leading car. Here it is in the absolute thick of the battle. One little slip in a moment like that and they could have lost position, but suddenly Benjamin Lariche started to almost relax and find the form, but there he is. That was an ambitious move. He just gained the position he needed to clinch the championship, got a little bit greedy, tried to go for another, had contact with the Mustang there down at turn 8, but no damage was done to his car. Up front though, Jan Duran, Spanish racer, hung on to take the first victory of Matmut Evolution's season with the Mustang, with their Toyota. In the background, the Mustang came through to third, but second place was not enough for the number 12 BMW, but certainly enough was the 7th place that took victory in the championship for Consani and Lariche. So up on the podium in 3rd place is the number 61 crew, Eric Evans and Marco Signoretti. In 2nd place, they did everything they could. Gabriele Piana on the left and Berko Bessler, but 2nd place was not to be enough for them. So frustration when you give your all and just come up short, but also when the person you're fighting against is behind you, it's hard to keep eyes on where they are. But everyone was behind this pairing that took victory. A famous win for the number 87 Matmut Evolution crew, Hadrian David, who started from pole, and Jan Duran. And a late arrival on the podium was the boss of Matmut Evolution, Jerome Policon, probably just trying to check why Jan Duran isn't singing the Marseillaise that rings out for the French team there, but very good-natured ex-racer, runs an excellent team. But Jan Duran and Hadrian David, job really well done. A lot of pressure today, kept it neat, kept it tidy, took the victory, and it's been a great season for everybody else. But so that's it from the GT4 European Series. We've still got the final races at Barcelona, but this weekend, a position outside the podium position was enough for the title to go to Robert Consani and Benjamin Lariche. Join us in Barcelona.